Hey guys, I'm going to do a quick review over factoring using algebra tiles. So first thing, I made some homemade algebra tiles. I just cut up some paper, wrote an X or a 1 on them. So we have several problems we're going to work on. And again, this is just a review. If you notice, the first one is one that we did in class today. So I wrote the first problem, 3x plus 3. So this is what we were doing in class, where the 3x is how many x's do I have? There's 3 of them, and then I have to have 3 ones. Now I've got to figure out how many rows I can put this in to where each row has an even number of the x's and the ones. So let's look at it. I can divide 3 up into 3 separate rows. And then my 3 ones, I can equally put these, 1 in each row. Every row, I have the same number of x's and ones. So I can divide this out into 3 rows. Each row has x, because we're only looking at one row, has an x plus a 1. So the way I write the factored version of this expression is to first write the number of rows and then what each row includes. So the factored form of 3x plus 3 is equal to 3 times x plus 1. Now if you're asked for the factor, the factor is how many rows you can divide it into. So the factor of 3x plus 3 is 3. So now let's try another one. Sorry, I'm just using some things I had at home, so it's not going to be as nice as if I had all of my tools at school. Just as a reminder, we do have a short quiz over this, and it's going to be just like the ones I'm doing now, where it's the simple factoring and you can use algebra tiles. So there's no more than 8 x's and no more than 20 ones would be used. So our new expression that we're factoring is 6x plus 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is gather 6 x's. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x's, and then 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry about the glare. So the first thing that people want to do is to try to divide out to where each x has a row. It's good to always try it that way to see if it works. But you'll see here that my 4 ones can't split evenly to where each row has a 1. Because if I did this, I would be left with 2 rows without a 1. So that does not give me equal rows. So I've got to try another way of dividing up 6. So now let's try it with 2 x's in each row. And let's see if I can split my ones up that way. Let's see, there's a 1, a 1, and a 1. but I still have a 1 left over. So that still does not give me equal rows because I have a remainder. So what's another way that I can split up 6? Well, I've tried splitting it up into 6 different rows. I've tried splitting it into 3 rows. Now, what if I tried to do, now my rows aren't going to quite look like rows here, but 3 in a row. So we'll count this as a row. Just to keep it in screen, I'm going to have to leave it grouped like that, or we can do it sideways. So there's 1 row, and there's a second row. And let's see if I can divide up my 4 ones. I can do 1 in each, 2 in each. Now I have an equal number of x's and 1's in each row. So I've got to write my factors. Remember, on the side is how many rows you have. So I have 2 rows. Again, sorry about the glare. I'm doing what I can at home. And in each row, I have 3 x's. Now be careful here. Remember, you're adding your x's. You're not multiplying them, so they won't have an exponent. I just write, I have 3 x's plus 2 1's. So the factored expression here, remember I write my number of rows on the outside and what is in each row inside the parentheses. So that would be 2 times 3x plus 2. The factor, dirty pen, the factor is what's outside of the parentheses, or how many rows I have. I have a factor of 2 for this expression. Let's try another one. This time we're going to do 4x plus 2. Just so you know, I wrote these quiz questions that you're going to have tomorrow, so I know all of the problems you'll be able to do with your algebra tiles, and that you won't have any like exponents or anything extra weird going on. There's 2 types of questions. One type of question is asking you to factor, which is what we're doing, and putting the number outside of the parentheses, and the binomial, that's 2 terms, inside of the parentheses. The other type of question is going to ask you for the factor, and that's just the number of rows that you can divide your tiles into. So now we're working with 4x plus 2. So we need 4 x's. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 1's. So if I tried to go ahead and divide this into 4 rows, I can see pretty quickly that it's not going to work because I only have 2 1's. These 2 1's can't be split evenly into 4 separate rows. So I've got to think of another way that I can group my x's to where these 2 1's can be split evenly into the rows. So let's try grouping them with 2 x's in each row. And my 1's can easily split into those 2 separate rows. So now I've got to write out my factored form of the expression. Remember, my factor is how many rows I have. I have 2 rows. And what is in each row? I have 2 x's. And again, I don't write that as an exponent of 2. I write the 2 in front plus 1. So whenever I write my factored expression, my number of rows goes first, so that's 2. And then what is in each row goes inside the parentheses. So my factor is what's outside. The number of rows is 2. All right, we got one more question to go over, and then I'll end for the night. So now I'm going to do 4x plus 4. So 4x plus 4. That means I've got 4 x's, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 1s. Okay, 4 x's and 4 1s. Now how can I split this up? Well, if I went with what I did on the last problem, what would happen if I put these in 2 x's in each row? Because I knew that worked before when I had an even number of x's and an even number of 1s. So this does work to put it in 2 rows, and in each row 2 x's and 2 1s. But as I said in class, you need to make sure that you split them into as many rows as possible. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into it more in class later in the week when we get more into doing the factoring using a greatest common factor instead of algebra tiles. But for now, I need to make sure that I am dividing them into as many rows as possible. So let's see what happens if I divide this into 4 separate rows. And you see I can, because I have 4 1s, I can split this into 4 rows. In each row I have an x and a 1. So I have a total of 4 for my rows, and in each one x plus 1. So on the outside of my parentheses is the number of rows, and then in each row inside of the parentheses is what's in each row, x plus 1. So my factor of 4x plus 4 is 4. I hope this helped some. If you have any questions, you can send me messages on Parent Square. Thank you.